The Spectral Zoo, Cages That Breathe. This story is for you to pour your coffee, put your phone aside, take a break from everything, and just listen. Then you can get back to whatever you were doing. All right, let me begin the story. In my office, amidst the dusty shelves and the flickering fluorescent light, I unfolded an anonymous letter that had found its way to my desk. The message was brief and haunting. Meet me at the abandoned zoo on the outskirts of town at midnight. Come alone. The handwriting was cryptic, the paper worn, but the words tugged at my curiosity and my instincts. As a paranormal investigator, the lure of the unexplained had always captured my imagination. But this invitation felt darker, more sinister than my usual haunts as midnight approached. The rain drizzled down in a fine mist, turning the forest path into a mirror of shadows and reflections. The trees loomed on either side like sentinels, their branches twisting upward as if trying to grab hold of the darkened sky. Every crack of a twig underfoot sent ripples of unease through my body. When I reached the zoo, a shudder ran through me. The once grand entrance stood dilapidated, the iron gate rusted over, choked with weeds and tangled vines. Signs that once guided eager visitors hung crookedly, barely legible, remnants of a joyful past now lost to time. I pushed open the gate, and as it creaked, the sound echoed through the stillness. An unsettling welcome. See? Taking a few minutes to relax feels good, doesn't it? Sip your coffee, enjoy the story, and just be in the moment. Let us know what you think. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the next stories. Stepping inside, I was engulfed by a sense of suffocating decay. The air felt thick and heavy, carrying the scent of moist earth and rust. Dilapidated cages loomed above me, remnants of a forgotten era. Their doors swung open like gaping mouths. I fumbled for my flashlight, illuminating the path ahead. The beam revealed remnants of life long gone. A flicker of a shadow among the vines, darting away like a memory too painful to grasp. The wind howled through the remnants of the zoo, creating an eerie symphony as it rustled the dry leaves scattered across the ground. I moved deeper into the heart of this spectral place, where the atmosphere shifted, and the air felt electric with anticipation as the last rays of dusk surrendered to the darkness of night. The zoo seemed to awaken. Shapes began to coalesce in the shadows. A figure flitted past. A bird, its body shimmering in the low light before it vanished entirely, only to reappear moments later in a different tree. Panic flickered in my chest. Was my mind playing tricks on me? Drawn onward, I stumbled upon a larger cage that pulsed with a strange energy, its bars glinting like teeth in the darkness. My heart raced as a chilling roar echoed from the shadows, and out stepped a lion with two heads. One alive, its eyes fierce and wild, the other a hollow skull, glowing ominously. It stared at me with a hunger that sent jolts of fear surging through my veins. Then the air grew still again, and I felt an unshakable presence behind me. Whirling around, I found myself standing before a cage that felt far too intimate, too personal. My name, Daniel, was inscribed on its rusted door, the letters etched deep as if carved by a malevolent hand. I froze as the realization hit me like a punch to the gut. This was no ordinary zoo. It trapped lost animals and ensnared those who dare seek the truth buried beneath its layers. The shadows deepened, swirling around me like living things, whispering secrets of despair. The wind stilled. The world shrank to just me and this accursed cage. Panic gripped me. I turned to flee, but the darkness swirled, obscuring my escape. Just then, the voice of the zoo spoke, not aloud but deep within my mind. Now you belong here too. I stumbled back, dread washing over me, the cage appearing to loom larger, more daunting. The shadows around me grew thicker, wrapping around my limbs, pulling me closer. The weight of eternity pressed in from all sides, and the boundary between reality and nightmare blurred. The entrance to the zoo mocked me, the iron gate now closed tight, an impenetrable barrier. I could feel the breath of the spectral creatures, taste the despair that clung to the air. Was this the end? Had I ventured too far into the abyss? My heartbeat echoed in my ears, a frantic drum signaling the end of my reckoning as the darkness enveloped me. I took one last glimpse into the moonlit void. The lion's two heads both watched, one alive, the other a skull, grinning as if they understood the role I now played in this living nightmare. A cold realization settled within me. I would not leave this place as the same person who had entered. Instead, I would join the parade of tormented souls trapped within the spectral zoo's grasp. And as the world around me blinked out of existence, the final whisper caressed my ear, leaving an echo of dread, Now, you belong here too. In that moment of despair, as the shadows closed in around, I was left to ponder the truth of my fate. What if somewhere a cage is waiting for you too? See, taking a few minutes to relax feels good, doesn't it? Sip your coffee, enjoy the story, and just be in the moment. Let us know what you think. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the next stories. For what felt like hours, I was enveloped in darkness, suspended between the world I knew and the realm I had inadvertently stumbled upon. Memories of my life began to fade, the mundane details blurring like colors running in water. Friends' faces, adventures, laughter, all wiped away by the encroaching shadows of the spectral zoo. But as the depths of despair threatened to consume me, a flicker of defiance ignited inside. I was a seeker of truth, a hunter of the unknown. I had survived darkness before, had faced ghosts and paranormal forces that would make most quake in fear. Why should this cage hold me now? With a sudden surge of determination, I began to explore, feeling the contours of the bars that imprisoned me. To my surprise, they felt hot to the touch, pulsing with an energy that sent electricity surging through my fingertips. I pressed my ear against the cold metal, straining to listen for the heartbeat of the zoo, the low throb of its unseen life. Around me, the shadows seemed to watch, whispering secrets in a language I could not understand. I felt a kinship with the lost souls that must have wandered these grounds before me. Perhaps they were trapped, like me, swept into this realm only to fade from existence. Anguish propelled me forward. I would not let fear strip me of my identity. Taking a deep breath, I remembered the skills that had gotten me this far. My ability to navigate the unknown and give voice to the spirits that lingered in darkness. My heart pounded as I closed my eyes, focusing on the shadows that played tricks around me. "Show yourselves!" I shouted, my voice echoing against the iron bars. "What do you want from me?" A terrible silence loomed, stretched taut with tension. And then it came. The answer whispered into the night, soft yet clear. "We seek what you seek." What did I seek? Truth? Freedom? I closed my eyes again, pushing away the futile thoughts that tried to break my resolve. I seek to uncover the mysteries of this place. I will not be another lost identity. The shadows throbbed, their energy crackling like static in the air. Slowly, manifestation began. A figure emerged from the dark. A girl, barely older than a teenager, her form flickering in and out of view. Her eyes glimmered with a mix of sadness and defiance. "You could join us," she said, her voice a mere whisper. "We were once seekers, too. The zoo doesn't just capture souls. It draws the curious, those who wish to uncover the truth. We all thought we could outsmart it. But once you enter, it begins to claim you." "What happened to you?" I asked, desperate for clarity. "I refuse to accept my fate," she replied, her ethereal form shimmering. "But the shadows are hungry. They will take your memories, your essence, and soon, you will be just like us. Another wandering ghost lost in the echoes of desire." "I won't let that happen," I declared, anger fueling my words. "If there's even the slightest chance to escape, I will find it." The girl hesitated, glancing around nervously as if afraid of what shadows might overhear. "You have to confront the heart of the zoo. Find the central cage, a place where the veil between the living and the dead is thinnest. There lies the key to your escape." "Where is it?" I pleaded, my resolve hardening. "See, taking a few minutes to relax feels good, doesn't it? Sip your coffee, enjoy the story, and just be in the moment. Let us know what you think. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the next stories. Follow the echoes of the lost," she said, her voice fading with each word as she became less substantial. "But hurry, the shadows are closing in." With a rush of adrenaline, I took a step back to assess my surroundings. The cages loomed like sentinels, the twisted bars and rusted locks looking both ominous and familiar. Suddenly, I could feel it, the call of something deeper, a resonance that felt like a heartbeat throbbing beneath my feet. I could navigate this labyrinth of lost souls if I focused on that echo. I sprinted through the darkness, dodging rusted cages and flickering shadows, following the pulse that vibrated in my chest. Each step brought the surroundings to life in a cruel dance. Shadows flickered and breathed as if they were alive, watching my every move. A growl echoed from the distance, and I turned to see the two-headed lion pacing behind its bars, the glowing skull head grinning at me. I caught its gaze, but instead of fear, the magnitude of my purpose gave me strength. I had to keep going finally, After what felt like an eternity of running, I found myself in a clearing bathed in an eerie silver light. Before me stood a large, ornate cage, the central cage. It was unlike any I had encountered, adorned with strange symbols that pulsed with energy. The air around it felt charged, alive, and I knew in my gut that this was the heart of the zoo. As I approached, the space seemed to ripple before my eyes. I peered through the bars, and what I saw made my breath hitch. Within the cage, swirling mists coalesced into whispers, revealing flickers of my own memories, laughter shared with friends, the warmth of family, moments that had shaped who I was. But alongside them were fragments of darker memories. Fear, loss, regret. This cage was not merely a prison. It was a reflection of my truth. I stepped closer, feeling the pulse of the energy around me. I refused to be defined by fear. I shouted, my voice shaking the very ground beneath my feet. I am Daniel. I choose to live. As my declaration rang through the clearing, the symbols on the cage glowed fiercely. The shadows around me raged and writhed, as if disturbed by the power of my words. I could feel the presence of those trapped, their swirling forms gathering strength in response to my defiance. Suddenly, the bars rattled, and a gap opened, an exit forged from my will. I could sense the souls within the cage drawing closer as if they too wished to escape. With trembling resolve, I stepped through the opening, banishing the shadows that sought to claim me. The moment I crossed the threshold, a blinding light enveloped me. An explosion of colors and sounds shattered the darkness. There was no pain, just liberation, as the spectral bonds fell away. I felt the weight of 1,000 breaths lift from my shoulders, memories flooding back like a rushing tide, and then I was standing in the misty forest, the dawn breaking around me, the world bathed in soft golden hues. The spectral zoo had dissolved, its echoes fading into the cool morning air. I was free, but the experience had left an indelible mark on my soul as I looked back. The rusted gate swung shut one last time, sealing whatever mysteries lay within. The forest was still now, and the shadows were no more than fluttering leaves in the gentle breeze. But deep within me lingered a question. As I turned to leave, how many others still wandered within those spectral cages, waiting for someone to defy their despair? What if somewhere, a cage is waiting for you too? The forest was alive with new sounds as I walked towards the edge of the woods, my feet carrying me towards the promise of a new day. The mist was clearing, revealing the first hints of sunlight filtering through the trees. I breathed in deeply, feeling the cool air fill my lungs, and exhaled slowly, letting go of the weight of my ordeal. As I stepped out of the forest, I was greeted by a landscape bathed in the warm glow of dawn. The sky was ablaze with hues of pink and orange, the stars fading into the light of day. I felt a sense of relief wash over me, knowing that I had made it out alive. But as I walked further away from the forest, I couldn't shake off the feeling that I was being watched. I turned around, scanning the trees, but there was no one in sight. The wind rustled through the leaves, and I felt a shiver run down my spine. See? Taking a few minutes to relax feels good, doesn't it? Sip your coffee, enjoy the story, and just be in the moment. Let us know what you think. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the next stories. I quickened my pace, my heart beating faster as I walked towards the nearest town. I needed to find a place to rest, to process what had just happened. As I entered the town, I was greeted by the familiar sights and sounds of everyday life. People were going about their daily routines, unaware of the world within the spectral zoo. I found a small cafe and sat down at a table by the window. The owner, an elderly woman with a kind smile, took my order and asked if I was okay. I hesitated for a moment before telling her everything about the letter, the zoo, and my journey. She listened intently, her expression unreadable. When I finished speaking, she leaned back in her chair and said, "You've been to the Shadowlands." Her voice was low and soothing, but there was a hint of something else, something ancient and wise. I nodded, still trying to process what had happened. "What do you know about it?" I asked. She leaned forward again, her eyes sparkling with a hint of mischief. "I know it's a place where the veil between worlds is thin, where the living and the dead coexist. It's a place of great power and great danger." I felt a shiver run down my spine as she spoke. "How did you know?" She smiled again. "I've heard stories from those who have gone before you. They speak of a place where memories are kept, where the past and present collide. It's a place where one can find answers to questions they've been searching for their whole lives." I leaned forward, my heart pounding with excitement. "What do you mean?" She leaned back in her chair again, her eyes glinting in the morning light. I mean that you've been given a gift, a chance to see the truth about yourself and the world around you. But be warned, this gift comes with a price. I felt a sense of trepidation wash over me as she spoke. What price? She leaned forward once more, her voice barely above a whisper. The price is your memories of who you were before you entered the Shadowlands. I felt a jolt of fear run through me as she spoke. What do you mean? She smiled again, her eyes sparkling with a hint of mischief. You see, when you entered the Shadowlands, you were given a chance to see your past, to see the memories that made you who you are today. But in doing so, you've lost those memories, lost them forever. I felt a wave of despair wash over me as I realized what she was saying. All those memories, all those moments that made me who I am today were gone. Lost forever. As I sat there, trying to process what had happened, I realized that I had been given a choice to see the truth about myself and the world around me. A choice to see the world in all its complexity and beauty. But with that choice came a price that I was willing to pay. What if somewhere, a cage is waiting for you too? I sat in stunned silence, absorbing the cafe owner's words. The gravity of her revelation settled over me like a heavy cloak, juxtaposed against the bright morning sun breaking through the cafe window. Memories, the very fabric of who I was, now hung in the balance, dangling like delicate threads ready to fray. Is there a way to reclaim those memories? I finally asked, my voice barely a whisper. The thought of losing who I was felt like a punishment worse than the dark shadows I had barely escaped. The woman regarded me thoughtfully, her eyes seeming to look far beyond the boundaries of the quaint cafe. Memories are complicated things, she said. They shape our identity, and yet we often wield little control over them. The Shadowlands offers gifts and curses in equal measure. Some find solace in their forgotten pasts, while others fight tooth and nail to reclaim what was lost. I felt a twinge of desperation. But I need to remember. I can't. Your journey is not over yet, she interrupted gently. The specters of those memories might still linger, but finding them will require strength and bravery. You'll have to confront the very essence of your being. How? I pressed, feeling the urgency of my quest push against the walls of my reality. Her gaze sharpened, and she leaned in closer. The Shadowlands is not merely a place of darkness. It's a realm of insight, and within it lies a path. A labyrinth that leads to the core of your unresolved feelings. Find the remnants of your past and face the shadows of regret and abandonment. They might help you reclaim your lost treasures. So you're saying I have to go back? The prospect was daunting, but it also filled me with a strange sense of purpose. If I lost the past, who would I become? Yes, she said, her tone resolute. But be wary. Many who venture into the depths of their own memories risk losing themselves in the process. You must be prepared to confront the truth, even the painful parts. I glanced out of the window, the morning sunlight illuminating the streets beyond. The world felt vibrant and alive, a stark contrast to the dark shadows I had recently traversed. I took a deep breath. I have to try. I need to know who I am. As I stood up, ready to embark on this new journey, the cafe owner reached out, her hand resting gently on my arm. Be steadfast, Daniel. Many are drawn to the allure of the past, but few emerge unscathed. Keep the lessons of your first journey close to your heart. I nodded, appreciating her caution but feeling an immense determination swell within me. Thank you for your wisdom. I will remember. With that, I stepped out into the crisp morning air and set my sights toward the forest again. The shadows of the Spectral Zoo still lingered in my mind, but I was no longer afraid. There was an inner strength growing, fueled by the knowledge that reclaiming those memories would make me whole again. The journey back felt both familiar and uncharted. As I approached the edge of the forest, the trees whispered secrets, beckoning me into their depths. I took a moment to gather my thoughts, recalling the flickering forms of the lost souls clinging to their unresolved fragments. I would face them, not as a captive, but as a seeker of truth. Crossing the threshold into the forest, I felt the energy shift around me. Shadows danced between the trees, chaotic yet strangely inviting. I steadied myself and focused on the pulsing energy that had led me to the central cage before. With each step, I attuned myself to the echoes of my past. Navigating through the trees, I stumbled upon familiar paths, the remnants of my former journey. The terrain felt like a living tapestry, weaving memories into the fabric of my surroundings. I could already sense the shadows lurking nearby, waiting to reveal the truths I sought. Eventually, I came upon a clearing that felt strikingly similar to the one where I faced the central cage. My heart raced as I stepped into the open space, the air charged with both anxiety and anticipation. And then, like a wisp of smoke emerging through the haze, the specters began to appear. Each ghostly presence seemed to shimmer, their forms reminding me of the lives I had lost, of laughter, joy, heartaches, and heartbreaks that had shaped my identity. There was the girl from my childhood, the spirit of a beloved pet, fragments of friendships long since severed. Daniel, a voice emerged, and I turned to see a figure stepping forward. It was my younger self, wide-eyed and innocent, bearing the weight of dreams not yet dimmed by reality. "You came back for us." "I did," I said, my voice trembling with emotion. "I need to remember who I am, to understand the parts of me that made me whole." "You must confront the pain," my younger self whispered, a hint of sadness reflecting in those innocent eyes. "We are more than just happy memories. We are a collection of every joy and every sorrow." In that moment, I understood. To reclaim the lost parts of me, I had to accept everything: the fear, the shame, the longing. It was not about erasing the pain, but rather about integrating those experiences into my identity. They would help me evolve, not consume me. The air shifted as more figures began to surround me, each shadow intertwining with the next like threads in a tapestry. I needed to listen to them, to embrace each moment of my life. "Show me," I called out into the ether. "I'm ready to face what's been lost." With that invocation, the shadows began to swirl around me, memories cascading in stunning clarity. I relived both the joyous moments and the crushing ones. The laughter that echoed through summer days, the heartbreak of friendships forgotten, the gentle love of family, the loss that left gnawing voids in my spirit. Pain engulfed me, but with each memory, I felt a piece of my essence return, a small thread weaving back into the fabric of my being. I dropped to my knees as the weight of realization crashed over me. I had been missing fragments that were both cherished and painful. But even in the depths of sorrow, there were lessons, strength gained from struggle, love rekindled through loss. I was not just a collection of good memories. I was richer for every shadow that had crossed my path. And then, finally, a golden warmth enveloped me, a light of understanding and acceptance. I was whole again. As the clearing dimmed, the shadows began to fade, their essence seeping back into the forest. Each flickering presence whispered farewells and thanks, as if acknowledging that we were interconnected. I felt a sense of peace wash over me, for within those shadows, I found resilience and courage. I stood up, breathless but revitalized. The sun streaming through the canopy above felt brighter, more vibrant. I had faced my shadows and embraced the truth. I had become the keeper of my own memories, and as I exited the forest, stepping once more into the light, I couldn't shake the promise that echoed in my heart, that while my journey through darkness had ended, the story was far from finished. What if the world needed more seekers, more brave souls willing to confront their own truths? With newfound determination, I looked toward the horizon, ready to unravel the mysteries of life that awaited me. I had emerged from my past stronger, and this was only the beginning of a new journey, in a world full of stories yet to be told. I hope you enjoyed these moments. Finish your coffee, pick up your phone, and get back to what you were doing. But before you go, let us know what you think. And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the next stories.